What do you remember about things here right after the war?
After the war?
After the war between the states, what do you remember most?
Well,
Things were hard?
yes, it's hard. They come a fellow through here taking all the horses and everything else you had to plow.
Mm-hmm. Who did that, the Union Army?
Bunch of horse rogues.
Mm-hmm. Horse rogues?
Yeah, they just ride up to the farm until you fetch the horse to them.
Mm-hmm.
A man by the name of Riley Willis and his crew.
Mm-hmm. Where were they from?
They say the said to be in Kentucky. I don't know where they're
Kentucky,
from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they're from.
And how long did you do that?
Huh?
How long did you do that?
Farm and work?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I done several years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they began to cut and slay and get all the big poplar timber out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I got my 3 yoke cattle and went to logging.
Logging?
Logging.
Mm-hmm.
And I logged down there on what's called Stunk Creek. I hope build that, all the lumber brothers hope build that railroad from Bristol to Big Stone Gap, little arm road back. And Bailey and Neely Cecil worked down my 12 months. With 3 yoke cattle part of the time and 2 all the time, myself.
You've had a good life.
Yes, sir. Worked hard, waded the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Struck fellas down there that I was working for. They just walk in the mud from Kentucky, Captain Banks. He just walked in and helped me lift a big log and get on. His boots were running full of mud and water. I was Jim Scott walking around with his gloves on, blowing his hand. And every check he gave, he went to protest. That's the way the world went up.
Tell me, General,
Hello.
do they work that hard anymore?
Huh?
Work that hard anymore?
Well, Lord, you ought to want to know. But the times are going to come that they wish you had worked.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to get there.
If you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more content like this, be sure to take a shot at the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest BirdDogg content. If you'd like to support the channel, for a limited time there's exclusive Civil War Diaries merchandise available in the video link below.
I'll tell you. When I was a little boy, they used to wear long dresses. Some of them three with red background. Then they commenced wearing them big, like sort of like this lady here. And then they commenced cutting them off. They were cutting them off until they got them way up here. And you never saw the other side in your life.
Dixieland, the Old South. It's the 47th reunion of the Confederate veterans. They grow fewer and fewer. At Jackson, Mississippi, only 200 attend. But a soldier of Lee still can dance with the girl. One thing will still make his old feet go, and that's Dixie. On he dances, as long as he can.
Standing reunion with Ben,
Yes, more people here, and they're treating us just like.
And did you ever see as many pretty girls?
No, I never did. You hear that there pretty woman talking
Yeah.
outside and bragging on the old soldiers?
She,
I wanted to hug her,
oh,
but
I
I couldn't get to
why
her.
don't you tell her, hold on, that you wanted to have a word with her.
Well, next time I see her, I'll fix it all up.
All right.
I'm going to hunt her up too this evening.
I mean, she may be up here this evening.
She'll be here. The Joe girl is gone. You won't get to see her.
No,
What are you going to do about it?
I'll hunt another one.
I don't think you'll find another as crazy as that one. I greet you, sir, as a native of my native state, Mississippi, whom we all love and honor, and will do so until the last day. General Stevens, it's a pleasure to greet you, sir, as the incoming commander of the United Confederate Veterans of America.
General Sneed, I thank you for your kindness and your appreciation.
Thank you.
The convention decided not to approve the joint reunion, and the reunion will be next year at Montgomery, Alabama. It is, but we will hold a reunion so long as there are two veterans left to hold it.
General Leonard Stevens, I want to congratulate you upon your election as Commander-in-Chief of the United Confederate Veterans, and I wish you a successful administration.
I thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to say furthermore that in the name of the Confederate veterans, we thank you for your noble effort toward giving us this royal welcome that we've had here. All right.
The reunion of the Confederate veterans in my native state, on the sea coast of the land of my birth. I love my native state as I do my country. God bless Mississippi.
Fine.
Accurate.
We are the last of the old bodyguards of our masters served through the war between the states. And we have been to all the reunions, and they have treated us just the same as any other soldier. I'm Marmaduke, Joe Shelby, bodyguard. Done everything they told me to do. And so one day, General Marmaduke told me to go and get some chickens. I told him I didn't know what's going on. He started got his gun, looked like them red chaps on there. I told him, yes, sir, I'll go right now. You ought to know how old I am? I'll be 81 years old the first day in August. Damn Wednesday. Into the southern white man, my race would have been in the jungles of Africa today, ignorant in the wild beast. He brought me over here and made a human out of me.
The army, the breast, bow the army, the absolute army, well, don't break,
A 5-day celebration at Norfolk, Virginia marks the final reunion of the United Confederate Veterans. It's the 61st encampment of Ranks of the Gray, and only 3 of the 12 survivors of the South's gallant host could be on hand to recall the embattled days. All 3 are 105, but like William D. Townsend of Ola, Louisiana, are spry for their years. Joe Salling, here of Virginia, took his first airplane flight to attend the reunion, as did W.J. Bush, who flew in from his home at Fitzgerald, Georgia.
me.
We're growing old, that's what they say. Our hair is turning fast to grey. Our steps are not so disconfined as they were when we was 29. But the wrinkles on our face show clear. They've been there now, boys, for many a year.
Grand Army of the Republic still lives in the undying spirit of these 10 aged and feeble veterans. All New York could muster for Memorial Day, 1939. There aren't many left now. The youngest here is 91. America's oldest living heroes.
All right, let's go. We are the veterans of the Civil War, 61 to 65. This flag is of the Huffing Zouaves, New York. Now salute.
Thanks very much. I'll take it on over. You get to it.
Hey, you. You don't want to get down and get a photo.
Lads, we had a man in our company by the name of Martin. He was a great hand to go out and forage. So we come in one day with a chicken. And the man that he took the chicken from come in and reported it. And now he says, Martin, the captain says, Martin, you were under arrest for 3 days. Sergeant, take him to the guardhouse. So we took him to the guardhouse and put him upstairs. That's the only guardhouse that we had at that time. And the second day he was in there, when he got his feet, he crumbled his hardtack down, got the loop down, and pretty soon the pigs come around. And, you know, he stepped in the loop, and the pigs went to climbing right up the side of the house. And come in, and the man come down, he says, oh, my, Lieutenant, let that man out. He's now stealing my pigs. So they let him out. Yes, comrade, come on. We had a man in the service, and he was picking those things off of his pants, you know. And come along and say, those arithmetic bugs that we have. Now, why do you call them arithmetic bugs? The reason why you call them arithmetic bugs is this. They add to my discomfort, they subtract from my pleasure, and they multiply like age.
Well, so the day came along, and you saw Mike taking the graybacks out of the seams of his pants. So he said, now, Mike, I see you are picking them out. No, but Jaber says, Mike, I'm taking them as they come.
Regiment, in marching down in Virginia, one day we came through a portion of the country where the people were in sympathy with the Union cause. And the colonel of our regiment that morning on our march, he said, no, I don't want anyone to leave their regiment and to go out and pick up things that don't belong to us. And they were marching along finally, and the colonel at the head of the regiment on his horse, he looked back, and there was a hog squealing. And he looked back and he saw a man sitting straddle of that hog, holding his hog's ears, holding him down. The colonel rode back there and he said, look here, Didn't you hear the order this morning? There should be no foraging? Yes, sir. Well, see, what are you doing here? Well, he says, Colonel, I come down here to fight the rebels, and I'll be darned if I'm going to let a hog run over me.
Symbol of purity, we offer up this lowly grain alone. May future generations emulate the unselfish devotion of the lowliest of our heroes. Even the symbol of victory.
In behalf of the Grand Republic, for whose unity and integrity our comrade James Buckley of the 4th Pennsylvania offered his services during the War of the Rebellion, I most reverently place the flag of the United States upon his chest.
The march of another comrade is over, and after it he lies down in the house appointed for all the living. Such summons these funeral obsequies remind us of the frailty of human life and the tenure by which we hold our own. In such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. It seemed to him as it did in great love when he pitched his tent, or when William footsore lay down the light. So faithful in our remaining marches that we should be ready to fall out and take our places in the great review hereafter, not with doubt, but with faith. The merciful captain of our salvation will call us to that fellowship which upon earth and in heaven remains unbroken. Second hymn. We seek thee, with whom there is no death. Open every eye to behold him who hath changed the night of death into morning. In the depths of our hearts we would hear the celestial word, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. As comrade after comrade departs, and we march on with ranks broken, help us to be faithful to thee and to each other. We beseech thee to look with compassion upon the widows and children of deceased comrades, to save our country with the freedom and peace of righteousness, and through thine own mercy, the Savior's grace, and thy Holy Spirit's favor, may we all meet at last with joy before thy throne in heaven, and till thy great name shall be praised forever and ever. Amen.
In this rare film clip, we see the daring Southern horseman who had followed the hard-riding, hard-fighting Nathan Bedford Forrest, the untutored military genius dubbed a wizard of the saddle. With their deeply rooted experience of soldiering, many Civil War veterans displayed an eager curiosity in the latest military technology as America girded for a Second World War.
On the Southern Cross, we fight our way to glory. On the Southern Cross, we conquer or we die. On the Southern Cross, Virginians ever glory. Louisville and Kentucky will be a battle cry. Forward, boys, on to victory or death, for they haven't bet us yet.
Comrades, the honor that you've conferred is the privilege and pleasure of a lifetime. I would rather have the love and affection of this band of heroes than to wear the crown of Caesar.
Major Sedlman, what is your opinion of General Robert E. Lee?
I regard him as the most stable military genius of the age in which he lived.
What is your opinion as to the hardest fought battle in the Civil War?
I regarded the Battle of the Wilderness and the Battle of Spotsylvania Courthouse as the two hardest fought battles. It's difficult to say which of the two was the hardest fought battle.
In 1861, I enlisted in the War of the Rebellion at Warsaw in Benton County, Missouri, under Colonel O'Kane, then a captain. We went to Cold Camp, fought the Dutch, and cleaned them out completely. Lost only 7 of our men with more than 250 of the Dutch killed. No prisoners were taken on either side. From there, we went to Springfield, Missouri, where we had the Battle of Wilson Creek, where General Lyon was killed on the 10th of August. The bravest man I ever saw was General Lyon, after he was completely surrounded and pulled off his horse. He picked up rocks and fought with thousands of men around him. He struck Will Morgan in the face with a rock, and John Morgan shot him with an old-fashioned horse pistol, killing him. How old are you?
I'm 94.
94, pretty good age for a young man.
Yes, kid.
Dear Mr.
Yes. Now you ask me how old I am.
Well, how old are you?
84.
84. You was in the
same war.
Under the same general.
On the same general, General Price.
That's good. Fine old man, too. Good man.
Good man he was. Yes, he was. And we was there to stay.
We
didn't enlist for a month or a year, but we enlisted for the war.
As long as we lived, or as long as the war lasted.
That's right.
Having a good time here today?
Fine. We're having a good time.
Enjoying ourselves?
Enjoying ourselves very much. And had a good dinner, too.
For a 90-year-old Civil War veteran.
I sure am.
Aren't you tired? Don't you want a drink?
Of what?
Water. Water, of course.
I haven't drank water for 50 years. You rust pipes, and it sure rusts you inside. The best thing to drink is beer, coffee, tea, a highball once in a while.
But the country's dry now, Mr. Draper.
You say it is, but is it?
Oh, but the country's dry now.
They say so, but is it?
The country's dry now.
They say it is, but is it?
What do you think of the new long dresses, Mr. Draper?
I like them short. The shorter the better. The knee is a joint, not an entertainment. Goodbye, girls. I gotta shake myself loose. Keep stubborn now.
Me and Nelson went to the Mexican War, joined with Lee and Grant under General Scott. And from there it came home, and then the war between the states fought on the Stonewall Jackson and Lee. And then, for now, long living, I take a good blood glass of wine and a good smoke tobacco, and don't worry. We are the last of the old bodyguards of our masters served through the war between the states. And we have been to all the reunions, and they have treated us just the same as any other soldier. I'm Marmaduke, Joe Shelby, bodyguard. Done everything they told me to do. And so one day, General Marmaduke told me to go and get some chickens. I told him I didn't know what's going on. He said, I've got his gun. It looked like them red chaps on there. I told him, yes, sir, I'll go right now. You ought to know how old I am? I'll be 81 years old the first day in August. Dan Winter. Under the southern white man, my race would have been in the jungles of Africa today, ignorant in the wild beast. He brought me over here and made a human out of me.
Gives me great pleasure in introducing our esteemed superintendent of this audience, who will lead the rebel yell. I'll yell myself, President. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel highly honored at the introduction of our worthy friend and comrade Captain Dr. Lewis, and I will do the best I know how to get that yell up for you. What few of us old corn-feds are left, we'll do all we can. We can't give you much, but we'll give you what we got left. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of announcing to you that we are going to make an effort to repeat the old rebel yell. 1, 2, 3.
Charge 'em, boys, charge 'em.
I was born on the 17th day of January, 1846. I go back as far as way along the early 50s. My first recollection of public living, and especially political living, as I may call it, was when I learned as a boy of 9 or 10 that my home was in the state of Virginia. I didn't know about states before that time. Then came up the great struggle when the Republican Party had become a power in the land. And when in the spring of 61, when news came that war was actually declared. In fact, it had been coming when South Carolina, as we heard, seceded from the Union. Well, wonder now what Mr. Lincoln will do when he is seated on the presidential chair. Well, there was a variety of feeling about it, even among our 75 or 100 young men, boys, at school. But right at once, when war was declared, about half of our pupils, young men over 18, quit school, joined companies of infantry, cavalry, and in their homes, in surrounding counties, and in that vicinity. I wanted to go too, but my father said, "Now, son, you're too young." I was just 15, just a little past. And if the war continues long enough, you may have an opportunity. Well, so I rested, and the war began, and I heard about it. And I heard that at the Battle of Williamsburg, some of my classmates fell in the battles there. Well, I grieved about that because they were boys that I'd been brought up with. They were a little older than I, but I felt sorry that they were killed. Then, in '62, although General Lee had still a pretty good army, he began to need more men, naturally. Although the big battles, or the largest battles, had not come yet. But my neighbors around there, some of them who were over 45, kinsmen of mine, some of them, began to just get up a company of cavalry. And I, a boy of 16 and a half years old, joined the cavalry company, which afterwards was attached and counted with others among the 24th Virginia Cavalry.
Now, for a long time then, from August 62 on until 64, great battles had been fought in there. We heard of the Battle of Gettysburg. And finally, our camp company was taken away from the Blackwater border, guarding that section of the country from the incursions of Federal soldiers who might cross the Blackwater River and the Chuan and come over into Confederate territory. We were taken in the spring of '64, our regiment was, in the neighborhood of Petersburg. And while we were camped just north of Petersburg, General Grant began his invasion of that part of Virginia. We heard about it, and I remember very distinctly, one morning we heard that General Lee had crossed the James up north and was coming down the Turnpike Road in the direction of Petersburg, just near us. And the next morning, happening to look while I was on guard, across the James River, there we saw long lines of blue. The infantry of the Army and the United States flags on the other side of the James, coming down to beyond the mouth of the Appomattox River that flows into the James, in order to cross on the pontoon bridges and thus begin the invasion of that part of Virginia and in the siege of Petersburg. Thus, I was not with that part of the army. My regiment was moved up north of Virginia, out of Richmond, I mean, north of Richmond, and thus we guarded that city for several months while General Lee and General Grant were struggling there near Petersburg. While that was going on, there were some skirmishes and one, small battle I was in. I was not in any of the larger battles, probably fortunately, maybe unfortunately. Well, General Howell commanded the General Lee's corps near Richmond. And I remember we were called up one day and took the Darbytown Road, and some mile or two, I don't know, we never counted distances or time in those days. We turned off from the road, main road, and went down a road through a wood. After a while came to an opening, and there was a line of blue boys and with some artillery. And we charged them, and that's where I was struck the first and only time in my leg, which laid me up 2 months. I was sent home on furlough. Now, I want to bring in one or two little points there that might be of interest to some. We were around Richmond, my regiment was, all the time then, on doing little of nothing, while that war was still going on. And after a while, a Saturday evening, the first day of April, 1865, we were ordered, and by the way, in the meantime, about half of my regiment had lost their horses. The Confederate soldiers owned their own horses, and when they lost a horse, it was difficult at that stage to secure a substitute. Anyhow, I lost mine. I've forgotten just now how. I don't believe it was in battle, however, at that time. Now, orders came for a dismounted part, or demounted, I might say, of the regiment to fall in line and march. We stopped on the way and spent the night That was Saturday night. The next day was a beautiful day, Sunday. We didn't know what was going on. We were within a mile of Richmond, and there was a turmoil there. And that day, as you all know, that day, the President Davis was attending his usual services at his church, St. Paul's Church. Right in the midst of the sermon, the front door opened, and a courier rushed in and went up to President Davis, handed him the paper. He opened it, and it was a dispatch from General Lee saying, "Mr. President, I am so heavily pressed by the enemy that I'm compelled to abandon Petersburg." Mr. Davis arose and left, and the congregation broke up, and in a few minutes almost, there was pandemonium then in Richmond. We marched out of Richmond early the next morning, on the 3rd, and started in a southeasterly direction. We didn't know which way nor where we were going, but afterwards it showed that we were attempting, under General Ewell's command, to come in contact with General Lee, somewhere down southwest of Petersburg. Well, the Federals under General Sheridan overtook us, our command of about 3,000, in Amelia County, Virginia, and after fighting several hours, General Ewell surrendered us, and thus I became a captive. I went to prison along with this command, and we landed in Point Lookout, Maryland, down here. Now, comes up the question of what we Southern soldiers fought for. My friends, as a boy of 16 and a half years old, I didn't think about any abolition of slavery. My mind wasn't developed enough to take in what the politicians had in mind, and hence there was no trouble as to the freedom of the slaves. The South did not fight for the preservation or extension of slavery. My friend, it was a great curse on this country that we had slavery, and I thank God that I did not bring up my boys and girls under a system of slavery under which I was brought under. What did you boys fight for then? Here's what a great many people do not know. That as a young man that way I couldn't understand it fully. But I look back now and see my part in it and saw what we struggled for. And that was for states' rights. For states' rights. And as many of you know, immediately after the war, the rights of the various states, well, especially in the South, were very much curtailed, if I may use that word. And since then, I have noticed you let things come up that encroach on the ordinary states' rights, which we have preserved, and we find that the North, the boys that wore the blue, are with us in preservation of the states' rights.
If you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more content like this, be sure to take a shot at the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest BirdDogg content. And if you'd like to support the channel, for a limited time there's exclusive Civil War Diaries merchandise available in the video link below.